Hello again, my name is Adina Ahiri, as always grateful to moderate Madhu's Improvisations on Growth podcast series, and more specifically during these challenging times, Madhu's COVID-19 crisis log. Here we are facing another week of social distancing and stay-at-home orders. We can still rely on technology, and yet you may have that feeling that there is a third cold entity in the room when talking online with family or coworkers. Have you started becoming aware of the small or bigger things that we are missing when interacting online only? Follow us on this journey and notice what questions or answers open up for you. It's a little fascinating how, you know how they say, I don't know if it's the best analogy, when a man meets a woman and he's attracted, and you know how they say that the woman has pheromones coming out of the hair, and that's why women are shorter, because men can sense that. What it makes me think is that chemistry, that our bodies actually, it's not only that the heart, for example, has an electromagnetic field, so we do give out vibrations. Our voice is actually a vibration. I wonder if the technology that comes in between us, the computer, technically we are still getting everything from an informational data level. There's this huge thing that's missing. I think it's just the proof that being next to someone physically, it just does something. Maybe we cannot express it right now, but and I'm not just talking about, like I said, it's not necessarily the hugging, but just being in the same room and not having anything in between. I don't know what it is, but it's funny. It just makes me think that there is definitely something.
I mean, there's one thing that science knows by now. So that's the mirror neurons. When your body and my body are in one room, our bodies pick up on the emotionality and how we're doing. So they have made this experiment with children. Like when babies see another baby cry, then they start crying. They discovered or named it mirror neurons.
You're mirroring the other person's emotions. You're just bouncing off of. Yeah.
And you do this on a very instinctual, very intuitive level. So there's no brain involved. When my body gets excited, then your body, like when my body produces panic or anxiety, whatever, because of those mirror neurons, your body will pick up on the signal and then gets excited and gets into panic mode as well.
I remember we were talking about it maybe in one of our first discussions as part of the crisis log, when you were talking about panic and anxiety and how your point was, what can I do in a time of crisis? And it was stay calm, because you can be the source of panic.
Yeah, and I can, so and as soon as I calm myself down, the other body picks up on that and then can calm down as well. These are the factors and the effects that we know about. And especially now with like everything being online, we might realize that something substantially is missing when the bodies are not in one room. And I can say that for coachings, like, of course I do, and I have done before online coachings. I mean, I do have clients all over the world. So often that's the only possibility to meet them online. And I'm highly sensitive, so I can get a lot of information when I hear people, and then even more when I see them. And yet there is still something that's different when I have the person when I have the person in the room, when I'm with them in one room, physically in one room. then I get even more information that's vital in a coaching process.
You know how I feel it, and I know it might sound a little weird because we've been talking a lot. We're even doing this using technologies, so we can actually just use ourselves as an example. This is how I feel it. I acknowledge all the good parts. I'm so happy we can actually exchange the ideas. I cannot help but feeling that there's actually a third person with us, even though it's not a person, it's my laptop. I don't feel the coziness. The coziness, the intimacy, that it's just not there. I know you by now, and I care deeply for you, so that is there. But as far as the here and now feeling, no matter what I do, it's still not there. And when you talk about the coffee shop, and it just sounds dreamy. It's like, yeah, even the smell of the coffee while talking is still. Although I have this here, I am aware that you cannot smell that. That this is not getting to you. So it's really interesting how, for me, it's almost like a big brother, like something else that's really cold coming in between us, because the machine is something rigid and cold to me.
I can make a lot of sense of what I'm hearing from you. It's that there's a coldness. I like that. I would not have been able to name it like this. The other thing that really got to me was about what is missing is, I mean, right now what I'm seeing is that a lot of artists are putting their art, like their music, theaters and movies, a lot of artists and in places like movie theaters over here, putting their work online, respectively streaming the movies and streaming theater and ballet and opera. The other day I was reading an article from an Austrian theater critic, and he said, stop streaming, stop putting your work online, because it's hurting you. You're not getting any money from it, and theater and concerts and live performance lives from being in the moment, being with the people in one room and performing for these people. And I read this article and I was like, yes, 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 yes. This was, he put into words what I felt when I saw that so many artists are going online. And I was like, yeah, on one hand, this is really cool, but on the other hand, something's wrong there. Something is missing when we just put it out there, because it's when you're in a theater, in your live concert, then it's happening with you while you're watching it. So it's a community. Even being in the movie theater with, I don't know, 100 other people, that is the experience.
Usually when you upload something online, you cannot make it go away. So it will just stay there. So if it's something unique, you are also giving something away of yourself that you can never really, you don't own it anymore. That's what I'm trying to say. It's almost like you don't own it anymore. It will always be locked in the cloud, whatever. So even that, knowing that it's just there, it takes away from what you were saying, the live experience, the here and now, and what we were saying about the energy and sharing this in one room. There's nothing like seeing people on stage performing or singing, opera house, let's say, full of people. I mean, you cannot reproduce that energy just by looking at a video. No matter how much you try, I'm not trying to take away from the benefits of it. It's still better than nothing. But what we were trying to figure out is, what is it that we feel so much that it's missing? And I almost feel like this is a good thing in a way. This is a good thing because it's making us understand these things, seeing them. It's a big lesson of what can happen, of how we are stripped of a big chunk of humanity, in my opinion. It's this coldness. I feel like if we experience it for too long, it's just taking away from what makes us human.
I think I couldn't agree more. And it's interesting that we are able to experience this now, because to this extreme, like in our normal life, we would have never been able to experience it to this extreme, like that everything goes online. I mean, everything, and that this online is like a life thread that is connecting us now, because that's all we have now. All we have is online and video and telephone. It feels like all our lives have been moved and shifted into the online world. I think only now can we appreciate what we lose through this, and appreciate what we gain, but also feel and sense what we are losing, and the coldness that it has.
Of course, we need technology. It's part of us, and I hope it will continue making our lives easier and easier. I hope I'll get the hairdresser robot at some point, even though that's not good news for hairdressers, so maybe not. We don't want to take away their jobs.
I love my hairdresser.
I know, right?
I actually have two, so I love both of them. So I would not. I'm missing them, not only because of my hair, but I miss them in person. To go there and to chat and to relax for an hour or two, and then also the guy who sells my cosmetic. I just miss him. These are like those little islands of self-care. It's not the same. Of course, I can buy my products online, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Or going to the coffee house, and then you have a little chat with the waiter. That by itself is the value. Or go to the supermarket and have a little chat with the cashier. That by itself is the value.
So maybe this is really showing us something. Maybe we would have never made this. And I'm talking about you and me right now. Obviously, we cannot speak for the rest of the world. I probably would have not realized how important this is. And I mean, as much as I value technology, for me, from now on, it's just technology. It cannot replace. It just has its role. It has its place, and it's very efficient and useful in the work that I do. And I know it's for you as well. Obviously, we all have a computer in the house, but it's just that. I do realize you still have 3 weeks of isolation, and we will be forced to make great use of technologies, but at least now we know something, right? At least now we understand these are just tools, and maybe even more, we look forward to having that coffee in person, and maybe doing a podcast in a coffee shop in Vienna sometime this year.
I like that idea, and I'm really looking forward, because this has been, for me and together with you, because it helps me to talk with you to realize actually my realizations. This has been such an interesting journey, really, like in the lockdown here, and how it affects me, and then to compare it with your experiences. So I'm looking really forward what we will discover next week, and what kind of development we will have gone through in order to then discover what we don't know yet. So I like that.
Thank you for being a part of Madhu's journey exploring the implications the COVID-19 crisis is prompting in us and in our society every day. As the social distancing continues, you may notice new shifts in your behavior, different from the previous day. We are grateful to make use of technologies, yet you may sense a coldness brought by this assisted communication. But ultimately, does it matter? Is it so important to interact in person, or as long as things get done and communication happens, everything is okay? We encourage you to answer these questions or come up with new ones, and to also share your thoughts with Madhu directly by emailing her at madhu@einsiedler.at, or leave your feedback on her social media on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Until our next episode, be well, stay in, and make the most of your indoor time.